Hello guys, welcome back to LR Anime. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of BTTH the Flame Emperor episode number 130 based on novel. So let's start. Xiao Yan, you must think clearly. If you insist on attacking our rainbow team, you will undoubtedly violate the rules of the Fengxiang Pavilion. When the elders in the pavilion are to blame, I'm afraid. Fong Ling said coldly. As for Xiao Yan, I am afraid that even Fong Ling, the strongest of the rainbow team, has little chance of winning, so he had no choice but to say this. Hehe, Fong Ling, don't try to tease our captain with these little tricks. Hand over the token quickly if you know what you are looking for, or you might suffer from flesh and blood. Ling Xian on the side was obviously brooding about the rainbow team. After all, just now these few people were in the same group as Shu Zhu, so it must not be much better. Ling Xuanzai just gloated. You. Seeing this, the two powerhouses in the early stage of the six-star Do Emperor couldn't help but feel a little anger in their hearts, and then shouted loudly. Let's run separately. The next moment, Fong Ling also realized that he seemed to have stepped on the iron plate this time, and immediately opened his mouth. After all, Fong Ling knew that his strength had already reached the peak of the mid-stage six-star Do Emperor, and he was only one step away from the late-stage six-star Do Emperor, but even so, facing Xiao Yang was still a little bit of fear, so he had the last resort. As soon as Fong Ling's voice fell, the members of the rainbow team scattered and fled away. Boom boom boom. Just when the few people just got up, a strange wave was born within a range of about 50 meters in this space, and then it seemed like someone was imprisoned here. What is this? Fong Ling was the fastest, because he had a nightmare level red scroll and a wooden card on his body, so he had to escape. Otherwise, once Xiao Yang and a few people took it, he would undoubtedly lose his qualifications for this mission. Don't run away, don't worry, they will be back with you soon. Xiao Yang slowly appeared in front of Fong Ling like a ghost. What the are you doing? Fong Ling, as a discerning person, was naturally able to discover the connection between Xiao Yang and this strange formation, and spoke immediately. It's just a formation, but it's more than enough to trap you guys. Xiao Yang didn't hide it and spoke directly. As early as when Ling Xian and Shu Zhu were fighting, Xiao Yang secretly condensed a formation in order to prevent these people from escaping. Because this time it was a team match and the task had already been assigned, Xiao Yang always felt that the task didn't seem to be that simple. Asking Ling Xian she didn't know, so she had no choice but to take this approach. I can't tell, you should be the strongest in this team. Fong Ling was not in a hurry when he saw this, but calmed down slowly. Fong Ling knew that he might not be able to break this formation in a short period of time. It's open. It's just a fluke. Hand over your wooden token, although I don't know what the wooden token is for. Xiao Yang said casually. Hey, it seems that there are not many people who know the real secret of this wooden sign. Since you don't know the secret of this wooden sign, why do you want it? Fong Ling smiled slowly, his voice full of confidence. Although this Xiao Yang's strength cannot be figured out, this Xiao Yang's team does not know the function of the wooden card, so with himself, this Xiao Yang will definitely not do anything to him. Then you'll have to hand over the fight. Xiao Yang smiled with evil eyes, and a huge flame of fighting chi burst out instantly. Hehe, although your strength is also a six-star fighting emperor who does not have the power of birth in his body and a powerhouse with the power of birth are not on the same level. Fong Ling swept away all the unpleasantness in his heart. Said immediately. Stop talking nonsense. As for what secrets are in the wooden plaque, I have a way to know if you don't tell me. Xiao Yang smiled, and then the ancient ruler of the eternal fire appeared on the palm of his hand, and a dazzling flame suddenly covered it. As the flames covered, even Mu Yingying's expression couldn't help becoming serious. This guy. With a slight movement of her red lips, Mu Yingying clearly noticed the enormous power contained in Xiao Yang's attack, and immediately opened her mouth slightly. Are you using the ultimate move as soon as you come? Fong Ling's face sank. He didn't expect this Xiao Yang to be such a ruthless person, and he didn't solve the secret in this wooden card and attacked himself. Could he still be heard from others? Do you know the secret of this wooden sign? However, it was too late for Fong Ling to think about it. The power of the strange fire and the ancient ruler in Xiao Yang's hand continued to superimpose. In a short period of time, a terrifying flame that Fong Ling had to take seriously was born. Facing the terrifying flame, even if it was Fong Ling, and his face changed. Damn it. This guy doesn't have any vitality in his body, why is his offensive so terrifying? Fong Ling was extremely surprised, but he didn't stop what he was holding. Fong Ling's figure moved, and a terrifying aura burst out all over his body, and the Xeon's aura infected everyone in the formation. This guy's strength can actually force the captain to directly use the power of life. Even if he loses, he is proud of it. This guy, I don't know how high the sky is. The captain is a real powerhouse in the middle stage of the 6-star Do Emperor, and the power of the 7th rank life was born in his body. This Xiao Yang is probably only asking for trouble. The one in the rainbow team, the two powerhouses in the early stage of the 6-star Do Emperor, kept talking. Why does this rainbow team captain's life force feel illusory? The next moment, Ling Xian's eyes narrowed slightly and she wondered. It stands to reason that the aura emanating from a normal 7th grade life force should be similar to the aura that Ling Xian emanated just now, but the life force emanating from Fong Ling is actually fainter than before. Xian was a lot weaker. This guy's strength of life, I'm afraid he has just stepped into the 7th rank. I don't know what method he used, but this is not the case with the strength of life of the 7th rank. Mu Yingying said slowly. The power of life is the power that replaces Do Qi after the 6-star Do Emperor calamity. What is this Fong Ling doing? Ling Xian immediately fell silent. Obviously she couldn't figure out what Fong Ling was doing. Boy, today I'll show you what the real power of the 7th rank student is. The power of life, the 7th grade life force turns the world. The next moment, the figure of Fong Ling suddenly floated into the air, and then a dazzling white life force suddenly burst out from his body. The huge power of life just burst out. Although the color is white, it is extremely transparent. Obviously, he has just stepped into the 6-star Do Emperor, and the power of life in his body has not been cultivated much. Boom boom boom. Under the control of Fong Ling, all the energy of life slowly gathered in front of Fong Ling. With the gathering of such terrifying power, in front of Fong Ling, a pair of black and white horror discs slowly condensed. On the black and white disc, the power of white life occupied nearly 90%, and a terrifying wave that made everyone in Xiao Yang's formation feel numb to their scalps brewed. This guy's life force is actually used so skillfully. Mu Yingying's beautiful eyes were slightly surprised, and she stared at Fong Ling. Hihi, is this the terrifying part of the power of life? But I have the power of holy flame. After Xiao Yang finished speaking, a khaki flame immediately shot from the palm of Xiao Yang's body. The Yihua eternal ancient ruler was swept away, and the next moment, the Yihua eternal ancient ruler slowly exuded a dazzling brilliance. The terrifying energy of these two people will not be noticed by others in this Luoling mountain. Mu Feng seemed to be worried and said, "No, this place is already shrouded in Xiao Yang's formation, you can't see what's going on from the outside." Mu Yingying said softly, "Looking at the appearance, I don't know who will win. After all, Fong Ling has controlled the use of a lot of life force, and Xiao Yang has no life force in his body." Ling Xian curled her lips slightly. "Don't underestimate Xiao Yang. Xiao Yang's words, even the second senior brother of your terrestrial hall, has the power to fight." Mu Yingying did not know where the trust came from, so she spoke slowly. "Boy, it's too late to admit defeat." Fong Lingjue shouted loudly, and on the black and white disc in his hand, a wave of death slowly attached to it, as if a random blow could kill someone. "I think it's you who should admit defeat," Xiao Yang naturally said unwillingly. Although this Fong Ling made Xiao Yang stunned, Xiao Yang knew that even if he had no life force in his body, he would still be able to deal with Fong Ling. Thought of, "You brazen brat, this time I'll let you try the power of life and die." Fong Ling glanced at Xiao Yang with disdain, and found that on the huge ruler in Xiao Yang's hand, there was a terrifying force. Volatility was also born, but Fong Ling, with the black and white disc condensed by the power of 7th grade students, was not afraid at all. The power of life, change the world. Fong Ling shouted loudly, and then the black and white disc on the palm of his hand smashed towards Xiao Yang's position. Wherever the black and white disc passed, the space collapsed, whizzing away with the Xeon aura that destroyed everything. "It's good to come." Seeing this, Xiao Yang couldn't help laughing in his heart, and immediately raised the ancient ruler of Henghuaheng high in his hand. His palm exerted force, and suddenly shouted, "The second ruler of the 7th layer breaking sky. The waves are stacked 1,000 feet." Xiao Yang suddenly let out a loud shout, and then the strange fire constant ancient ruler on the palm of his hand suddenly trembled strangely, and a lot of flames emanated from his body, filling most of the formation. The next moment, just as Fong Ling smashed the black and white disc and attacked Xiao Yang, the ancient ruler of eternal fire in Xiao Yang's hand suddenly burst into thousands of feet. Every phantom seems to exist, and the aura on it is exactly the same. Cut. Seeing this, Xiao Yang couldn't help but laugh in his heart. Obviously, with the strength of the 6-star Do Di at the later stage, he used the 7th layer heaven-shattering ruler, and his power should not be underestimated. As Xiao Yang's voice just fell, the surrounding flames suddenly turned into a circle of fire waves, wrapping thousands of feet, and the black and white discs were swept away. Boom, boom, boom. The terrifying wave suddenly exploded in the formation. Bastard. Seeing this, Fong Ling spurted out a mouthful of blood. This Xiao Yan is clearly a bastard. My black and white disc was condensed by the power of life. Under the attack of Xiao Yang's flame ruler, the power to destroy everything in the black and white disc was being weakened rapidly, but Xiao Yang's flame ruler was not. Decrease but increase, this can make Fong Ling anxious. It's no exaggeration that his attack was his strongest attack right now. If he couldn't defeat Xiao Yang even this one, he would probably be out of the game today. This guy's rank 7 life force is truly well deserved. Xiao Yang tightly held the ancient ruler of eternal fire in his palm. Even if he used the second ruler of the 7th level breaking ruler, Xiao Yang found that he couldn't fight it. This cool black and white CD. Although his flame ruler, which spans thousands of feet, is constantly weakening the power of the black and white disc, Xiao Yang knows that the ancient ruler of the eternal fire in his hand emits a very obvious tremor. The source of this tremor is the black and white disc CD. The strength of this life is really thorny. It seems that the 7th level breaks the 7th level of the sky ruler. With my current strength, I am afraid that I can cultivate the 4th level. But to take this Fong Ling's attack, the 3rd level is enough. The next moment, Xiao Yang's pupils became solemn. Although he had already learned the first 3 levels of the 7th level, Xiao Yang didn't have much confidence in the 3rd level. After all, the 7-layered sky-breaking ruler became more difficult the further back it went. The 3rd ruler alone made Xiao Yang a little bit hard, and then the difficulty would be even more difficult than reaching the sky. Be calm and calm. Sentiment ruler. Xiao Yang kept repeating these words, and then closed his eyes slightly, before the eternal fire eternal ancient ruler, a few meters in front of him, with the terrifying power of the black and white disc, it continued to die. The flame ruler is not at all concerned about it. What is Xiao Yang doing? Comprehension in a battle situation is a taboo in battle. Xiao Yang wouldn't make such a low-level mistake. Mu Feng's sharp eyes naturally saw what Xiao Yang did at a glance, and immediately asked in doubt. Mu Feng, if something goes wrong for a while, follow me. Mu Yingying heard a hint of worry in her eyes. It seems that Mu Yingying and Xiao Yang have some stories to tell. The green flute on the side also smiled slightly. When did Fong Ling's strength become so terrifying? It's really strange. As for Ling Xian, she said absent-mindedly. Because according to Ling Xian's memory, whether it is Xu Zhu who has fallen into a coma or this Fong Ling, although the strength is good and the talent is good, it is impossible to step into the middle stage of the 6-star Do Emperor so easily, because he clearly knows the two people have not passed the news of the 6-star fighting Emperor tribulation. How could they appear here today, and their strength has greatly increased? Boy, admit defeat. Fong Ling laughed and went into a state of calm, thinking that Xiao Yang had given up his resistance, and immediately said to him fiercely, "Go." As soon as the voice fell, Fong Ling's face became heavy, and he controlled the black and white disc with force and smashed it against the team. Boy, this is all over. Whoever dares to move me in front of me, this is your best end. Remember not to provoke some people you shouldn't provoke in your next life. Fong Ling looked at Xiao Yang in front of him with disgust, like an ant. All the same, the flame ruler that directly blocked the black and white disc in midair was finally removed, and then Fong Ling laughed wickedly and smashed at Xiao Yang, who was scorching hot on the ground. Don't think about it. Fong Ling knew that Xiao Yang's death was imminent. After image. But the next moment, the power of the last day of the black and white disc crashed against Xiao Yang, but Xiao Yang's body instantly became illusory, and then a terrifying explosion exploded in an instant. He, what senior brother Fong Ling said, Xiao Yang will return it to you intact. Xiao Yang's familiar voice sounded in the formation, and then Fong Ling, who was aloof, suddenly felt that he was being held back by an unstoppable force. The terrifying heavy ruler attacked viciously, and then like a meteorite, it drew a beautiful arc in the sky and fell to the ground in an instant. As for the sky above, a man holding a flame-heavy ruler smiled slowly. At this moment, the man holding the flame-heavy ruler showed an admirable aura. Don't pretend to be dead, I know you're not dead. Hand over the wooden sign. Xiao Yang slowly put away the ancient ruler of eternal fire, and then came to the ground where Fong Ling was lying. Fong Ling's body burned with flames. It was obvious that Xiao Yang's attack just now contained flame energy that Fong Ling couldn't help but be unable to resist. You still want to eat a foot? Xiao Yang immediately frowned when he saw Fong Ling pretending to be dead, and shouted. The next moment, Fong Ling, who was still lying on the ground, immediately stood up like a corpse when he heard the words, but his body kept coughing, and it was obvious that he was seriously injured. This little brother, I really don't know what secrets are in this wooden token. As for this wooden token, it has no effect. Fong Ling said humbly. No way, how does Fong Ling know that Xiao Yang's strength is actually in the late stage of the 6-star Do Emperor? Although this Xiao Yang has no life force in his body, the strength of that 6-star Do Emperor in the late stage is enough to crush him. It seems that you still don't have a long memory. After Xiao Yang finished speaking, he slowly reached out with his hands towards his back, as if he had taken down the ancient ruler of eternal fire. Okay, Lord, I'm afraid of you. Take it and take it. After a few breaths, Fong Ling did not dare to hesitate, and directly handed the wooden token in his hand to Xiao Yang. Lingxian, come and have a look, I don't know much about this thing. Seeing this, Xiao Yang was naturally afraid that Fong Ling was playing tricks, so he immediately said, "This thing is indeed true." Lingxian came over, took the wooden token in Fong Ling's hand, and spoke slowly. "What's the use of this thing?" Xiao Yang asked slightly, and then the other 4 members of the rainbow team shook their heads, apparently even they didn't know about this thing. However, Ari Lin looked at Xiao Yang, obviously not knowing what he was thinking. "I vaguely remember what my father said, this wooden sign seems to be a key." Ling Xian recalled hard. "It's fine if you don't say it. Anyway, I'm an alchemist. I can use my soul power to enter your brain and find out directly, but I can't guarantee that you will become an idiot in the future. So, Fong Ling, did you say it or did I force you to say it?" Xiao Yang didn't bother to talk nonsense with Fong Ling. After all, Xiao Yang had 100 ways to solve the mystery in front of him. I said. Under Xiao Yang's intimidation, Fong Ling's face darkened slightly, and he immediately said with some fear. Fong Ling has heard a lot about what Xiao Yang just said about the alchemist using soul power to enter the human brain to probe memory, so Fong Ling is also afraid. "Let's talk, what's going on?" Xiao Yang heard the words, and naturally he was too lazy to do it. After all, it was quite troublesome to use his soul power. This team game in our Burning Incense Pavilion is a group of 5, and it is divided into 3 levels. We are the most difficult here, but the benefits are undoubtedly the best. There are a total of 10 teams entering our Luing Mountain, but in the end, there is only 1 team that wins. And according to the information I got, the tasks of our 10 teams are all the same. After Fong Ling finished speaking, he slowly looked at Xiao Yang. "What is your mission?" Xiao Yang heard the words, suddenly felt that this was not good, and said, "Defeat the 5-element beast." Fong Ling said flatly, "What?" Just as Fong Ling finished speaking, the 4 including Mu Feng suddenly exclaimed, "It should be true." Xiao Yang thought for a while and then said, "Xiao Yang has some absolute confidence. With this red nightmare scroll and wooden plaque on his body, it is impossible for anyone to detect the quest in the scroll. If so, I am afraid what Fong Ling said is not false. Looking at your expressions, what I said should be right." Fong Ling asked tentatively. "Go on." Xiao Yang said. "Actually, it's more appropriate to call it a game rather than a game. Because in Luing Mountain, the 5-element beast is the biggest trophy in this competition." Fong Ling said slowly. "What does this have to do with the wooden sign?" Mu Feng was quite puzzled. "Hehe, very few people know about this. I only learned it from others at a high cost. If it wasn't for you, I'm afraid you wouldn't even know if you were eliminated." Fong Ling snorted slightly. The Luing Mountain is extremely vast, probably thousands of miles in size, and because of the special ancient times, many dead beasts were born here. The strength of these dead beasts is extremely terrifying. Wherever there is life, there will be rulers. One of the 3 giants in Luing Mountain is the 5-elements beast. 5-element beasts are full of treasures. Not only is the body a rare body refining material, but the blood essence and its demon core are also rare. Fong Ling said, "If we defeat the 5-elements beast, everything will belong to us?" Mu Feng asked in confusion. "Of course, everything we got in this Luing Mountain is our private property, and the sect will not take it back, but the level of danger here is too high, and the team that enters here every time is pitiful." Fong Ling said, "What's the matter with the wooden sign being the key?" Xiao Yang heard the words and couldn't help but believe Fong Ling's words, and immediately asked, "As for this wooden sign, it is the key to entering the residence of the 5-elements beast." Fong Ling said slowly, "Where do the 5-elements beasts live?" Green Flute couldn't help being shocked when she heard the words. "Hehe, don't underestimate the 5-element beast. The 5-element beast is not so easy to deal with, and if you want to go into the place where the 5-element beast lives to defeat it, you must get 3 wooden cards. Otherwise the powerful space imprisoning force outside the five-element beast will be I won't let you advance even a little bit. Fong Ling Zaidu opened his mouth, his voice solemn. The five elements beasts live in one of the three highest peaks of Luing Mountain where the breath of countless fallen powerhouses gathers, so the gathering has become a special space that can only be entered by using 3 wooden cards. Fong Ling said slowly. Looking at the fact that there is no fluctuation of power on the wooden token, I never imagined that such a shocking secret is hidden. Xiao Yang naturally sensed the extremely weak fluctuation on the wooden token, so he said, "Okay, you can get out now." After Xiao Yang asked, he immediately closed the formation surrounding this space and the wooden sign of Team Fong Ling in his hand, and said to him, "Boy, this time we will admit it, but next time, I'm afraid you won't be so lucky." Fong Ling shouted viciously to Xiao Yang, then he didn't stop and left here with his team. How true or false are they saying? As Fong Ling's team left, Mu Yingying stepped forward slightly. It shouldn't be false, but I think he seems to be deliberately covering up something. Xiao Yang said slowly. Just now, Xiao Yang had been staring at Fong Ling with his soul power, and found that Fong Ling seemed to have no other thoughts. I always feel that these five-element beasts are not so simple. Mu Fong said. Let's go deeper. After Xiao Yang finished speaking, he immediately took action. Hehe, Xiao Yang, just wait, the 3 giants of Luing Mountain will make you never reborn sooner or later. Fong Ling, who had left, smiled slowly, especially gloomy. Strange. Why does it feel wrong the further you go inside? Xiao Yang and his party headed towards the depths of Luing Mountain after solving the problem that the Rainbow team obtained another keyboard. But let a few people move forward, they found that the area of Luing Mountain is too vast. As for the Rainbow team, if they lost the wooden card, they would lose the qualification to enter the residence of the 5 elements beasts. If Tan could beat the other 8 teams to obtain the wooden card, they would have some qualifications. That's how the team match came to an end. However, the members of the Rainbow team are obviously not dead. Although the wooden sign was robbed, they did not quit Luing Mountain for a long time. They knew that once they quit, there would be no chance. The further you go in, the more invisible the suppression will become. According to this situation, I am afraid that when you reach the 5-element beast, you must not only resist the suppression, but also fight against the 5-element beast. This is... Xiao Yang kept thinking. Right. As far as I know, this Luing Mountain seems to be divided into 3 parts. Look, doesn't it look like 3 hills from here? After Ling Xian finished speaking, she pointed her finger at Weiwei in front of several people. This Luing Mountain should be a flatland. As for the mountain ranges above these 3 flatland, there seems to be some subtle fluctuations in them. Xiao Yang swept away and immediately discovered the abnormality of these 3 mountain ranges. Yes, among these 3 mountain ranges are the 3 kings of the Luing Mountain. The celestial eye giant beast ranks 3rd. Almost all of its body is made up of countless compound eyes. It is said that the team that encountered this celestial eye giant beast fell into a coma. Obviously, this celestial eye giant beast is extremely difficult to deal with. 5-element beasts are ranked 2nd. These 5-element beasts are extremely difficult to deal with, and this time our mission is these 5-element beasts, so I think there are other crises in the mountains where these 5-element beasts are located. As for the dead beast ranked 1st, I don't even know who it is. Ling Xian slowly remembered and said. According to what Fong Ling just said, it seems that you need a key to enter the mountain range where these 5-element beasts live. Xiao Yang was shocked when he heard the words. Obviously, the current members of Ling Xuan's news team were no different from the rain. Yes, to enter the mountain range where the 5-elements beasts live, you must collect all 3 wooden tokens. Now we have 2 wooden tokens in our hands. As long as we find a wooden token, we can enter. Ling Xian said slowly. You guys rest here for a while, and I'll take a look around. Xiao Yang looked at Ling Xian's body, which had become a floating aura because she had just started, and immediately spoke. I'll go with you. Seeing Xiao Yang just opened her mouth, Mu Yingying followed directly. You don't go. Now your strength has reached the early stage of the 6-star Do-D. When I'm not around, you will be in charge of the team. Xiao Yang was shocked when he heard the words, and hurriedly said, Yes. Mu Yingying heard the words, and seemed not to refute Xiao Yang's words. She agreed softly, and then sat down slowly. You guys just take a rest here, I'll go out to explore the way. Xiao Yang said lightly. Be careful. Mu Fong said with concern immediately. Yes. Xiao Yang settled down a few people, then moved his figure and quickly left the team. Can't you see that your relationship with Xiao Yang is pretty good? As soon as Xiao Yang walked away, Ling Xian immediately spoke to Mu Yingying, who was beside her. I don't know if it was out of jealousy or other reasons, but Ling Xian was actually very unhappy with this Mu Yingying, and immediately sarcastically said, "Are you going to fight?" Mu Yingying heard the words, playing with a piece of dead wood in her hand, and cast a glance at Ling Xian. "Humph. Don't think I'm afraid of you. And I'm the daughter of the palace master. If you dare to touch me, go back to me," Ling Xian said in a sullen voice. However, before Ling Xuan's words were finished, Mu Yingying's figure moved and came to Ling Xuan's side in an instant. On the blade of her hand, a blue flame slowly surrounded her and directly pressed against Ling Xuan's neck. Ling Xian was startled and sweating profusely, because the blue flame on Mu Yingying's body actually caused her great fear. "It doesn't matter who you think, but if you sabotage our mission this time, I won't show mercy to you," Mu Yingying said softly, then withdrew her attack and slowly returned to her position. Stop, the two aunts, stop making trouble. If Xiao Yang comes back and sees this, he will have to kill me." Mu Feng, who was on the side, felt bitter. How could he get into such a relationship with these two people? "Aunt, shut up." Ling Xian and Mu Yingying spoke at the same time, and then the four of them became quiet. "Xinyan, what do you think you found?" The next moment, Xiao Yang had just left Mu Yingying's four-person team not far away, and suddenly said to Xinyan in his body, "The space here is very special. I think this place should be very suitable for you to cultivate the power of Fireheart Heavenly Rock." Xinyan smiled slowly. When Xiao Yang heard this, his head was full of black lines. "Could it be that you just discovered this?" Xiao Yang immediately questioned. Ads by Pub Future. Okay, I'll talk to you about the business." Xintian's slow voice became heavy. "Do you know the origin of Luoling Mountain?" Xinyan said suddenly. The origin of this Luoling Mountain is not the place where some Shentian powerhouses fell. The power remaining after the fall of these powerhouses formed dead beasts like monsters, which created the current Luoling Mountain. Xiao Yang naturally did not know why did Xinyan ask this question. She immediately said, "What the woman said is not false, but she knows too little. This Luoling Mountain is the place where the powerhouses who fought against the ghost world fell, so this Luoling Mountain is full of dangers. And I seem to have smelled the movement of the people in the ghost world just now in this Luoling Mountain." Xinyan said solemnly. "People in the ghost world? What are they doing here?" Xiao Yang pondered slightly upon hearing this. "I don't know, but I can tell you for sure that this person from the ghost world is at least much stronger than you. And I heard that you killed the twin ghost emperors before. I don't know how you did it, but once the ghost emperor dies, the ghost emperor's heart is known as an indestructible thing, so I think that people from the ghost world will come this time. The purpose here is probably related to you," Xinyan said slightly. "Ghost emperor's heart?" Xiao Yang couldn't help frowning. The twin ghost emperors in the team had indeed fallen, but Xiao Yang couldn't remember the ghost emperor's heart. A few of them took it. "So be careful, this Luoling Mountain is joined by the ghost realm, so I'm afraid it won't be peaceful." Before Xinyan's words were finished, Xiao Yang suddenly felt that a white smoke slowly filled his body. The white smoke just appeared, and it immediately completely blocked Xiao Yang's sight, and Xiao Yang actually found that he was in the white smoke, and even his fighting spirit was slightly frozen. "There is an enemy." Xiao Yang's heart moved, and he immediately held the ancient ruler of eternal fire in his hand tightly, and circles of flames surrounded him, staring vigilantly around him. What appeared in front of Xiao Yang was a fox with fine fur. "Xuan Mei Ling Hu?" The heart rock in Xiao Yang's body suddenly said. "Quick and sensitive fox." Xiao Yang was slightly startled when he heard the words. Xiao Yang had never even heard of this dead beast that appeared in front of him. Swift and agile foxes, this is a race that is naturally different from foxes. Generally, foxes are famous for their charm, but these agile foxes are famous for their extremely fast speed and strength. They specialize in hunting all kinds of low-level magical beasts. Devour low-level monsters to continuously strengthen yourself. Xinyan explained. "It seems that this thing is not easy to deal with." Xiao Yang's eyes sank slightly, and the agile fox in front of him gave him a great sense of danger. "Damn beast!" Xiao Yang scolded in a low voice, because at this time Xiao Yang's body's do qi has slowed down, obviously for no reason. Xiao Yang is very strange in this white smoke. Xuan Mei Ling Hu is not a vegetarian either. When he saw Xiao Yang breaking into his territory, the white smoke that lured the enemy out immediately enveloped Xiao Yang. This white smoke to lure enemies is no trivial matter. Because the smoke is the unique means of the swift fox, the white smoke contains the unique power of the swift fox, which can greatly reduce the strength of those caught in the smoke. Shabu shabu. The swift and sensitive fox seemed to find that Xiao Yang was still in the smoke of attracting the enemy, yet he could not fall down, and he possessed such a terrifying combat power, and his speed skyrocketed immediately. Move freely. Boom boom boom. Xiao Yang was still mobilizing the vindictive energy in his body just now, trying to defend against this swift and sensitive fox, but unexpectedly this swift and sensitive fox launched an attack directly. The swift and sensitive fox raised its front paws, and the sharp front paws aimed directly at Xiao Yantian's cover paws. Such a terrifying blow. In the case of ebb and flow in the smoke, I am afraid that it can kill the enemy in an instant. Drink. Xiao Yang shouted loudly. Although he couldn't mobilize much do qi in his body, he immediately placed the heavy ancient ruler of different fire on his chest, and the next moment he resisted the terrifying claws of the swift and sensitive fox. Even so, Xiao Yang was repelled a few steps by the terrifying claws of the swift and sensitive fox before he stabilized his figure. No, we must leave here, otherwise the strength of this swift and agile fox may be comparable to the powerhouses in the late stage of the 6-star do di of human beings, and this mysterious smoke might attract other participating teams. Xiao Yang stabilized his body. I found that no matter what, as long as I was in this smoke, I couldn't mobilize a little bit of vindictiveness at all. Human, let's capture it. In my smoke formation, you can't leave alive. Seeing that he hadn't succeeded in a single blow, Zun Linghu immediately moved at a high speed, and then let out a wicked smile in the smoke. It's a mystery, Xiao Yang said coldly, but he thought about it in his heart. Great heavens, fortune palm. The next moment, Xiao Yang, with his keen soul power, instantly displayed a heaven-level fighting skill. As soon as the great heavens fortune palm came out, Xiao Yang suddenly felt that the attack that was destructive in the past had become soft at this time. Don't waste your energy, let me eat you obediently. Delicious food. Xuanmin Linghu said slowly and instantly, and then a certain spatial picture in the smoke trembled slightly, and a giant claw with a terrifying attack fell from the sky. Xiao Yang's eyes were fast, and he was using the ancient ruler of different fire to stop him, but this time, he took more than 10 steps backwards, and even Xiao Yang felt a little sullen when he was attacked. No, do qi should be temporarily sealed, and it seems that he can't fight recklessly. Xiao Yang also knew the power of this smoke formation at this moment, and said to himself, although the speed and strength of this agile fox are extremely terrifying, it is a huge gap for you to break through in terms of soul power. Or your holy flame power. Xinyan also said, come out. Xiao Yang sensed that there was no one around, and suddenly his body burned at a high speed, slowly mobilizing the fire heart Tianyang. Boom boom boom. The khaki yellow holy flame just appeared, which immediately made the place full of white mysterious smoke feel a little thin. Why is this flame so terrifying? Hiding in the void of smoke, the swift and sensitive fox was optimistic that every time Xiao Yang's defense was weak, he would directly attack and try to kill Xiao Yang. Such a terrifying attack made Xiao Yang keep retreating. However, when the khaki holy flame appeared in Xiao Yang's body, Xiao Yang's aura obviously changed. Stone crusher. Xiao Yang stretched out his hands, grabbed the khaki holy flame in front of him, and then wrapped it around his hand. The next moment, Xiao Yang suddenly called out. Following Xiao Yang's call, a huge palm of several tens of meters suddenly burst out from above the ground, and then fiercely confronted the swift and sensitive fox. Xuanmin Linghu still wanted to run away, but in front of the terrifying power of Huaxin Tianyang, he became small, and he was finally hit by Xiao Yang's attack. The stone crusher was a fighting skill that Xiao Yang felt from the fire heart heavenly rock. As for the gravel burial, this is the power of the holy flame of the fire heart heavenly rock. If it is not a last resort, Xiao Yang will not use it. After all, this method requires too much power, and if one cannot say well, I am afraid there will also be a lot of trouble. An obvious burn scar appeared on the body of Xuanmin Linghu. Through this scar, one could vaguely see that it had been injured by Xiao Yang's attack just now, and a drop of blood fell on the ground. Above. Brumbling. Xuanmin Linghu made a strange sound. Xiao Yang didn't even need to listen to know that this Xuanmin Linghu should be angry. This dead beast is a bit more treacherous than the beasts outside. Xiao Yang smiled slowly. The khaki holy flame on the palm of his hand exuded the supreme aura of extermination. Sensitive death claw. Xuanmin Linghu's eye couldn't hold it any longer. He was a powerful dead beast in the dignified mountain. How could he be injured like this by a human? And immediately said angrily, soul. Heaven's wrath. Xiao Yang felt that the attack strength of the quick-witted fox's attack was no less than that of an immortal level fighting skill, and immediately took a deep breath, and then a huge soul force poured out instantly. Boom, boom, boom. The two blended in terror, but the next moment, the pupils of the swift and sensitive fox became tight. Soul fighting skills? How is that possible? However, it was not the swift and sensitive fox's turn to be surprised. The huge soul force immediately destroyed the swift and sensitive fox, leaving nothing left of its will. Are you dead? Xiao Yang slowly retracted the ancient ruler of Yihuaheng, and then saw the strange smoke around him slowly dissipating, and the power of his own soul in the soul perception also hit the swift and sensitive fox, and immediately said. Xuanmin Linghu was hit by Xiao Yang's Huangquantian's anger, and his eyes suddenly became dull, as if his soul had been lost, only to hear a bang, that Xuanling Linghu directly fell to the ground. It seems that this swift and sensitive fox is not as powerful as the outside world. The heart rock in Xiao Yang's body spoke slightly, and it seemed that this swift and sensitive fox, which had been rumored by the outside world in the past, was not so terrifying. Go and have a look. As the smoke dissipated, Xiao Yang also resumed the use of Do Qi, and immediately walked over to the swift and sensitive fox. This video will end here.